Hi folks, I wanted to do something a little different today, just to kind of give you an idea of what my typical day is like, with regards to my process and how I go about things. So where I'm sitting right now is at the kitchen table. It is currently just gone around 9 a.m. and I'm just going to get down to work. I have, if you can see it there, I have a little scrap of paper in front of me and a ballpoint pen, and you can see the remnants of my breakfast there as well. But what you see here is what I do my thumbnails and sketches on, where I just come up with my ideas for my comics and whatnot. And yeah, so I'm going to get down to work, and by the time I come back, hopefully I'll have something to show you. And I'm back. It's just a little after 9:15 in the morning, and yeah, I have something sketched up. So let me just turn this around. Let's see if you can see that. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, my sketches tend to be very small. I don't know if that comes across when I post my thumbnails to Patreon, but yeah, I tend to do it on a quarter of like an A4 page, and the way it tends to go is I just start kind of like aimlessly doodling until I get some visual or some little thing that I like, and I can kind of iterate upon that, and then an idea will begin to form out of that. And in this case, I got the idea of a dog staring at itself in the mirror, but seeing something there that its owners don't. You know, its owners think it's just looking at itself, but it turns out there's some kind of entity staring back out from the mirror that only the dog can see. And you know, I just thought that would be kind of like an interesting visual to work with, because I like I like drawing creepy faces. So yeah, I'll get started on that, and I'll talk to you about the actual comic in a bit. Okay, it is 20 to 11. I should have had the work I'm going to show you now done long ago, but yeah, I kind of procrastinated. The mortal enemy of artists and creators everywhere. So yeah, I kind of dawdled. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how today's comic works in terms of how I lay it out, and how I lay out a lot of my comics. So, because this is a 4-panel comic, can you see it there? I have to kind of duck down to see my screen here just to make sure everything's showing up. So yeah, the way you see those panels there, how I go about that is I'll get a blank sheet of paper, and then I'll lay down another comic, this one, underneath it, because it's got the same number of panels and the same dimensions going on, and I'll just simply trace over that. And then for today's comic, because I've got repeating elements going on, like the background will be the same in every panel. Sometimes I will try to do that by eye. Like I'll just look at the panel that needs. I'll look at the initial panel that will have repeating elements, and I'll just like do my best to repeat those elements without the need for tracing or anything like that. However, in this case, I do want things to look somewhat consistent throughout. So I have this, it's my light box, and, or light, more accurately, a light panel. And it's very handy for this type of thing because, look, if you look here, I have another sheet of paper with the same panels laid out. And then it's just a matter of, I don't know, can it be seen there, but with the light panel switched on, when I have that page laid down on top of the original page, I can use that panel as a template upon which I can draw the repeating elements throughout. And it's just like a time-saving thing. Well, a time-saving thing in theory. Like there are times I find when using the light box, because you're so stringently sticking to the way the lines are drawn in the template panel, that in a way it can slow you down. Whereas when you're doing things by eye, sometimes you'll just go and you'll just like throw the lines down without worrying about like whether they match up or not. But me being me, I do worry about lines matching up, so I go about things this way rather than doing the copy paste thing. I will digitally copy paste repeating elements if I absolutely have to, if I'm running out of time and I just need to get things done. However, for the most part, I'll go about things this way. So yeah, I'm rambling on. So what I'll do is I'll get to work, and hopefully I'll see you on the other end with a finished page. All right. It's 11:20. I have the pencils done, and I don't typically show you the pencils in my process posts, so here's a I don't know if you can see this okay, because I can't see my screen right now, but that gives you some idea of how my pencils can look. In some cases I tend to really go into a lot of detail with the pencil work, because I want to be absolutely sure about what I'm inking. Other times I'll keep things fairly loose, and that'll just allow me to bring a bit more interpretation to the inks. Today's comic, it isn't all that complex, so it's not entirely loose, but it's not entirely precise either. It's kind of like just a middle ground between the two. So yeah, I'm going to get down to work and get this inked. So yeah, I'll see you in a bit. It is just going for 12:20 as I record this, and I'm finished the inking for today's comic. And I'm going to have to figure out a better way to record things, but I hope you can see that. And one thing I want to talk about here is, if you look at that final panel, you may notice that there are various different things that I had planned on drawing in that I left out entirely. Like I was going to put like a hand up against the mirror. I was going to have like a nose on that weird face. And that's one of the things you find, like I find anyways, when I'm working on my comics, that often I will add something or just as much, or if not more, I will take something away that I'd originally planned on doing. And in this case, like I've even inked in like the entity's mouth, but that's actually something I'm going to edit out in the final version because I want this thing to look very alien and strange. And while I think it would have looked just as strange, or just, you know, just as creepy, having like full features like a nose and mouth and whatnot, I think there's something about just having this entity just being this giant head with a pair of eyes. There's something about that I think just looks all the more terrifying. And yeah, so I'm going to get a bit of exercise because I need to get up from this table and just go take a walk. And yeah, after I do that and get a bite to eat, I'm going to get down to scanning this and coloring it. So I'll see you in a bit. And I'm all fed and watered and exercised and whatnot. It is 2:10 in the afternoon, and I'm just getting sat down to color the comic. I'll just have to turn this around. I have it all ready and prepped on my laptop, specifically on my Cintiq here. And yeah, I just have all the, can you see it there? I have all the various like layers named and laid out and whatnot. That's just a habit I've gotten into, where I tried to get myself in, well, I got myself into the habit a few years back of having the layers pre-named rather than doing the thing I would usually do in the past of just giving the layers like random names or just no names whatsoever, which is fine in the moment, but when or if you have to go back to a comic to maybe edit it or mess around with things, knowing the names of the panels and what they represent can save a lot of time. So like the time that's spent putting those layers together, while it can feel wasted at first, it is overall a handy thing to do. It's time saving in the long run. So yeah, I'm going to get down to work on coloring this, and yeah, I'll talk to you after that. Take care. And I'm done. It is just after 4:45 in the evening, obviously, and my comic's all finished up. I currently preparing to put together a video for my color process thing for my $5 and up patrons. And yeah, I just put this video together basically to give you an idea of the time that goes into making these comics and kind of what my typical day would be like. I mean, you're missing out on all the in-between stuff, say during the downtime when I'm not working on the comic, but for the most part, this tends to be my day. I tend to be finished up around, on a good day, I tend to be finished up around 5 p.m, maybe just before, maybe just a little after, thereabouts. Don't expect this to be like a regular feature or anything, because to be honest, videos are quite tricky to put together. So I just wanted to do this as, I don't know, just something a little different, just to see how it would turn out, and maybe you lot would be a bit more interested in hearing me talk about my work rather than just typing it up. So I hope you enjoyed it anyways, and I will leave it at that. So thank you very much for watching, and take care.